Good morning, it's Michael here from Michael's Card Art, and it's Wednesday morning, the Wednesday before Easter, so a little bit busy getting everything done for the next 4 days off, which is great. And what I wanted to show you today very quickly was how I compiled the cacti series that I did the other day and posted up on to various sites. Now, it generated a lot of questions about how this was put together and was it three-dimensional, and if it is, how did I create the 3 dimensions. So I'm going to go through and show you the raw basics of this. A lot of the techniques that I've used in this, a lot of you would be familiar with. Now, as you all know, or as most of you may know, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I don't always use Stampin' Up! Products, although I do love their products and how they add to your stash. But this particular series of stamps and dies are not Stampin' Up! Products. And I honestly can't tell you where I got these from. I have been donated and a number of stamps and die sets. And I think, if I look at the dies a little more closely, I think these are from one of those internet sites that you can purchase these products from. And I say that because I can see these little notches on the edges here. They appear to have all been joined together. Now, that is not something that Stampin' Up! Do with their products. However, that said, I just wanted to let you know that they're not all Stampin' Up! Products. So let's have a look at these more closely. You'll see that what I've done is I've got the base card, I've got a matte card, I've done some embossing on the top card, and I've then applied another small card that you can place the object onto. And you will notice it does have a bit of a three-dimensional look to it. And that effect can be simply created by doing a cutout of 2 actual pieces and then laying them over the top of the other, as you can see here. It just gives you that nice 3D effect, if that's what you're after. And as you will know, if you've viewed my channel before, I'm big on height and texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I pulled these cards together, and I'll go through and I'll create a couple of products for you. You will need, and these, take a screenshot of this, you will need a base card, 13 centimeters by 21, a matte card, 10 centimeters by 12.5, a top card by 9.5 by 12 centimeters. Now, I always try to get everything prepared in advance, and I realize I don't have I haven't cut this randell or a piece of card that I'm going to use to place it. So I'm just going to pause here and I'll quickly go and get that, and I'll be straight back. All right, now I've cut that piece that I wanted for placing my cacti or pot of cactus onto the card. Now, I'll just add one thing, that this actual card series was a great way of using various embossing folders and also DSP that may have been sitting idle in your stash for a while. And as you can see, for each of the backgrounds, I've used an embossing folder just to give you a different effect. And I think it's an effective way of getting out those items that you haven't used or played with for quite some time. Now, I'll also show you some of the other pieces, the other Stampin' Up! Pieces of the stash that I've used for the got a sore wrist. For the sentiment, I've used the Stylish Shapes dies and this one here, and I've cut 2 pieces of that. I've used, in this case, you can see it's the DSP underneath and just white cardstock on top. The other piece that I've used in this card set is the Stitch Greenery die. And I hunted high and low to get this. This is a retired piece, I believe, but I just couldn't find it. And finally, one of my colleagues rendered her piece up for sale, and so I snaffled that one very quickly. The other thing that I've used in this one, I mentioned the DSP. So in this case, I've used the Delicate Desert series of DSP. It's a fantastic set, and it goes very well with the cacti. It's got some great earthy colors and images on it, and it's just a great piece for when you want to use the DSP and you haven't found a project. Well, this is certainly one of those projects where you can use it, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, let's get moving on to how I created this. Now, these are the die cuts that we're working with. Now, I recommend that you have at least, I'll just bring these two because there's a couple of things to be aware of in this when you're putting these together. You will need 2 pieces of cactus cuts, if you like. And what we're going to do is one, when we set these after we've colored them, one will sit like this and the other one can sit flat in your image. So you've got this 3D effect, if you can see that. Okay, and the same will apply with this cactus plant. We will have this one bent slightly forward and this one will sit flat, and that way you've got a 3-dimensional look in your card. Now, you'll notice the pots have these cutouts on them, and when you do die cut them, there is the potential for these pieces to pop out, as you can see here. And that frustrated me no end. And what I had to do was think of a way to keep these die cuts in place. So what I'm suggesting you do is this. When you've cut these out, try and maintain these in situ. Place a smear of glue on the back piece of card. And what I did was I just got a piece of hand towel, tore off a very small piece, attached it here. Now I can work with this, and I know that these pieces are secure so that they don't pop out. Now you still need to be gentle with them, or gentle enough, because they may have the propensity to jump out, and once they're out, it's very difficult to get them back in. Okay, that said, we've got, so in this case, instead of the round piece, I've just used the oval stitched piece. And I thought that was quite a nice, it'll be a nice effect because we've got some height, and when this piece in particular goes in, you're going to find it's going to extend over the shape, and I like that. I don't like to be confined by borders, but I do like the idea of borders being there. They just help give you some perspective. And once this one goes in, you'll see also that it will extend over the edge of the borders. Okay, so I think the first thing to do will be, well, assemble your various pieces of base card, and this is what it will look like. And so we've got our top card, we've got our matte piece. Now either of those would be sort of suitable. They're great colors, but I'm going to go with the more brightly colored one there. And because this is a single fold, I'll just prepare that now so that that is done and dusted. Now let's score that. Now I have got a sheet of A4 paper that I will place under here. Let's just do that so that everything remains clean. I'm waiting on Stampin' Up! To release the glass mats again. I wasn't fast enough to get one of those in the first round, and on all accounts it's an essential piece of anyone's stash. Okay, so if anyone's wanting to get rid of theirs, please, you will find a good home here for the Stampin' Up! Glass mat. Okay, so that will go there like that, and in a spare moment I will put that together for you. The rondelle or stitch die will sit there like that, and then your various pieces will go over here. All right, like so. All right, let's go in and start to color the pieces. Now, I'm going to start with these ones, the cactus here. And for this, I'm going to use Old Olive. Now, you can colour to whichever colour you desire, but in this case, I'm going to use Old Olive, Daffodil Delight, and I want a little bit of, I'm just thinking, I want a little bit of, no, that'll be for the pot. Let me just have a quick think. With a bit of soft suede. Now, we'll see how this goes. As with all of my colouring, it's by feel. And it mostly works out to the way I like it. However, there have been a few instances where it hasn't been that successful. Now, I'm using just the Dauber for this approach. 3 Daubers, one for each colour. There we go. And let's start with the green. Okay, now just around the edges is how I tend to start, being gentle enough to colour all of it with a coat of the green. Now, I do like, fumbly today, I do like the edges to be a darker tone of green, or a darker tone of the first colour. And as we get into the centre, I like to keep that lighter. Why is that? It's perspective of light hitting the object. Okay, let's go in with some yellow now. Now, I don't know what sort of colour a cactus like this would be out there in the desert. And sometimes if you look at some images online, you can see the colours and the tones that you should be aiming for. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm just adding some soft suede to our product. Now, are we getting the colour that I want? Yes, it's coming along quite nicely. Right, and now I'm going to finish off with some more green. Okay, and we're getting those nice rich green colours with hints of yellow and brown, and I think, oops, that is perfect for what we want, because I'm going to add one more element to the colouring. So let's quickly do that again with our second piece, because this is the piece, as you may remember, that will add the extra dimension to the finished product. So keeping the edges darker and then going into the center to give it the impression that light is hitting onto the centerpiece. So some yellow now. Here we go. And you can see it's a fast, and some would say furious process, but it's the one that serves, or has served me to date. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to, there's some brown added in, and I'm just going to finish off now with some of the green again. There we go. And I think we've got a well-coloured cactus bush. All right, now let me show you a couple of techniques that I use. This, you may have noticed in the original card, And where have I placed that? Here it is here. The original one, you can see the colors. There's more brown in this one here. And that's fine. I'm happy to stay with the tones we've got there. No two item, I suppose, in nature is going to be exactly the same. However, oh, that's what I want to show you. Can you see there the glimmers of gold on the cactus? There it is. That. So what I've done, there's two ways you can do this. I went and purchased an embossing pen online, and it's an invaluable piece of my kit. I apply embossing powder in a number of ways. When it's small pieces like this and I've got an outline I can work to, what I will do is I'll just make some of those pieces stand out with the embossing pen. And I'm just going to do it like this. And on this piece I'll show you a different technique. Now you don't have to colour each of the items. That will be sufficient there, I think. What I should have done there was apply the embossing buddy, because I may live to regret that decision. So let's just see how we go. Just picking this piece up very carefully. There we go. Applying some powder. And let's see what happens. It may stick to everything, or it may do as... Okay, so I should have applied the embossing buddy, and you can see there it's a bit of a hot mess, but don't worry, because with the touch of a brush we're removing a number of bits of that. It has stuck into some of those grooves that I've highlighted, but there are still a number where we do need to remove some of this. So word of warning, use your embossing buddy before applying gold embossing powder. So let's set that one aside and we'll do all these together. Let me show you the other technique I use when you don't have an embossing pen. So embossing buddy. Okay, give that a bit of a... Now let's apply the Versamark to that. And what I've used in the past is a pretty flat instrument like this. I do have a metal letter opener that I use as well, and it really just depends on... So all I'm doing is just dabbing the item into this, and I'm just stroking it across so that you've got Versamark being applied randomly to the object, and it gives you a very effective end result. Okay, let's put that aside and bring back our embossing powder. And look at that. You can see there you've got random application of the gold embossing powder. I think that's great. Now, what I'm going to do, just put that powder aside, I'm going to go in and I'm going to heat set those pieces that you've seen me do at a slightly later date, because I want to show you the colouring of these ones. Now this, oops, very similar approach. I'm going to use the same colour set that we've got here and just quickly apply that. So let's start off with the green. Now with this one here, I'm applying a bit of a twisting approach to the Dauber. I think the picture that I did look at online showed these as quite a greenish cacti. Okay, some random green there applied with the Dauber. Okay, now let's go in with some yellow again and see those random applications of yellow. Okay, there it is. If you can just move that to another piece of the A4. So you've got some green and some yellow. I'm going to finish that off with a bit of the soft suede, just to bring that colour down a bit. There we go. And I like that. I like how we've got different tones on the cactus. I think that looks great. So it's not really green, it's not really brown, it's a combination. So I'm going to just put those aside because we will use those colors again very shortly when we're doing the pots. So I'm going to heat set these along with the other ones shortly. I'll do the embossing buddy on that, and I'll use that same application with the embossing powder. So you can see what the end result of that looks like. But now, whilst we're here with our colors, I'm going to show you how I've colored the pots. Now, this, I'm going to take the brown away. I'll keep the green, the old olive, and the daffodil delight. But I'm going to put in here a Cajun red. That's this one here, Cajun red. And I'm also going to add a blue to this. And this in case it's balmy blue. All right, so let's move that aside. Bring in an extra Dauber. One for the red and one for the blue. Now, the pots, I like this. I like the pots to have this kind of earthen look about them. Here's one here. You can see there's greens and yellows and all those sort of colors in there. I want to have an earthen sort of look about it. So let's get some green onto our Dauber. Once again, randomly touching it. I like to do the edges so that they've got a strong base color on them. And the rest of it, what's going on inside, I leave to chance. And let's get some yellow happening in here. It doesn't have to be all over it. There we go. Now, let's start with a little bit of red. Now, I'm over here on the other side where there's no color application really at the moment. And there we go. And let's get some blue onto this one. And the blue just tidies it all up. If that makes any sense to what does tidies it all up mean, Michael? It just brings it all together. So we've got some blue here, some yellow, some red. This process that I use to color vases, urns, other objects is something that I've just, in my words, mastered for me over time. And I find it really, really therapeutic when you're when you come up with something that looks quite earthy. Now, and you can see by placing that that darker color around the edges to start with, and in this case it was the green, you've got a nice finished product that has lots of tone and shadow in it. Now, I'm just going to finish off with the blue here and see what we're doing here. We're just rubbing it over the top there, and it's starting to accentuate the cracks and crevices from the of the cutouts. Now, if I bring one of our friends back here, I'll use one of the ones that we haven't die cut. It's a nice, I'll bring it over here. It's a nice contrast of colors. So that's what I've done there with that pot. And let's do it with this one. Now with this one, I'm going to remove the green. I'm going to bring in a pink. Now, as you can see, it doesn't matter really what colors you want to use. It's all about experimenting. So this one here is going to have some dark pink tones around the edges. And you notice by putting that paper towel that I mentioned there before, that glue is still sticky. But with the paper... Now I've lost my pot. There it is. Just bear with me a moment. It's on the floor. Okay. It is still sticky, but with the paper towel, it does allow you to be quite vigorous in your handling. Now, so that's enough pink there. Let's go in with some yellow. Okay, applying the yellow, there we go, that's enough. Let's go in with some red. Applied liberally, but randomly. And then we come up with our final color, the blue, to give us a bit of tonal darkness. There we go. And there we go. And I think this, oh yes, here it comes. That's what I want. And this twisting of the dauber, I find, makes the pot shine a little bit, if that makes any sense. But anyway, give the technique a go and see if it works for you. I love it. Okay, there we go. And we can also assume two different pots, two different colors. That one is very close to this. I'm going to come back with that brown. Let's just bring that brown back in. Might need to color tone that one down a little bit. Is that my brown one? Yes, it is. I'm going to I just want to, there we go. And I'm just applying that brown just to one side, and it's that side there. And I just want to create a point of difference. Now, it is different. It's a different tone to the cactus. By adding that bit of extra brown to the top and to the side there. All right, that's good, that's good. And that's probably enough. Maybe just a splash more red, if I can. Okay, that's nice. Okay. They're different. Okay. All right, let's get those colors away. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat set the embossing powder on those various items. So I'll be straight back to you. Now these have been all heat set, and you can see here with the two pieces, this is the one that I used the random application with the boning folder, and this is the one where I've used it applying the pen. But I don't have a preference as to which one is the one that will be on the outer, but I have chosen this pot to be the more suitable one, and this pot will go with this one here. And you can see this is the first piece where I didn't apply the embossing buddy, so it has a bit more of a, there's loose application there, and this is the one where I've applied the embossing buddy, but I've used the boning folder to put on the Versamark. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll put that one at the front, like that. And this one here, I'll put, I don't know, look, it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo at the front there. So let's pull that all together now. And, oh, I should have done the sentiment as well. But let's put this in place. And we'll leave that to last. So what I'm going to do, where's my glue? All right. You all know how to glue. I know you do. So I'm just going to fast and furiously pull this together for you. And so there's our top card. And that will go to the mat, like so. There we go. I do like this stitched greenery die set. It's very, very good. And I'll then apply that to our top card. Okay, like so. All right. That goes there. Equidistance all the way around. Nice border. Okay, that goes in there. Now let's put that aside and bring our little friend here to the party. I think this one will, I'm going to use this one in our display. Yes, okay. This is the one I'll use. Now, what I do, I've got a watercolor paintbrush, and I'm just giving this bowl some shape. Bowl, vase, urn, some shape. Now you'll notice here, you will notice here, there is that ridge there. That pops back. And because I've got paper towel there, that's not going to pop back easily. So I need my cutting knife. I'm just going to cut this, because effectively what I'm doing is I'm cutting paper towel that sits at the behind this. There we go. Just so that I can move that. Great. Okay. Is that all done? Yes, it is. Right. There we go. Fantastic. Okay. If there's any towel protruding forward, just push that out of the way, because you don't want that to be focusing or to be seen. There we go, push that back. Okay, that wants to come off, so let it. Okay, now, so we've rounded our bowl, and what I'm going to do here, because that will sit on there like that, we want to have some height, so I'm going to apply 2 dimensionals there. Now, those dimensionals will maintain the height of the bowl for us, like so. Okay, so that comes off, that comes away. Now, the integrity of this will be a little to question, because, okay, do you know what, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to remove this paper towel now, because it's done its job. And if I put those dimensionals, so just move that out of the way. If I put those dimensionals onto the paper towel, it's more likely that the card or the pot will lift off at some stage. There we go. And like so. Okay, that's better. And that's off. Now I'm going to put some glue on the base just here, just the finest amount. Now, let's just make sure we've got a good placement. And I think that is as good as any. Now, when you push the dimensionals in, keep the pot open, if you like, so it still has that rise. That will be pushed back. And the cacti will go in like so. Okay. And then this one will go underneath. Now you're probably saying, well, that's sitting up very high. It does look like it's sitting up very high, but this is where the magic is. This will be our top piece, so you're bending this around like this to give it. Now go gently. Okay, that's the look we want. Unfurl that a bit, and then this one will go here. And that will go there. And this one will go in the pot as such. And you'll get that. So let me do that for you. This one I'm going to sit behind the pot. Now, I'm going to put a dimensional, one dimensional here. How did that work? I'm going to put one dimensional there. And I'm going to glue just around here. Now you notice I haven't glued all of this. I'm just going to bend those back because I don't want them to be glued down onto the card. I want them to have some movement as well. Okay, that sits, oops, that sits back here, like so. See how it hangs over the edges? Now that's in place, like that. You've got these nice, there you go. And then this will sit up here and will glue into place there, like so. Now, how does that glue? Like this. I'm just thinking, okay, that sits in there like that. Right, I'm just going to place a little bit of glue here, and that will hold this open, like so. Remember, we've got glue on the base of the pot, so we need to make sure that that sits tight. Now, see what we've done, what I've created here? It's the paper towel at the back. Don't let that disturb you. Just give that a couple of seconds. Okay, and then that will go in there like that. Like that. That's great. Now, we need a couple of dimensionals there. Where did that pop off to? That's one. And there it is, two. Okay. It's like sleight of hand, isn't it? Magic in cardcraft. Okay. There we, right. Push that in as far as you can. There we go. Lifting that up there. And you've got your cacti in place. There we go. Look at that. Voila. Nice. And it's sitting up nice and high. Just give that a little more time there to dry that. And then we bring back our, like that. I think that is excellent. All right. Now, the big question is, do you want to put that on dimensionals or do you want to lay that flat? It's entirely up to you. I'm going to lay it flat, or glue it flat, I should say. There we go. And it will go in about here. All right. Now, let's put, and I'm going to just quickly find something that I need a sentiment that will fit in that space, and I'm just quickly perusing. What have I got here? I think you fit there. It's probably too big. Gosh, you would think with over, oh, I won't say how many sets. I do have of Stampin' Up! Products, and I can't find one that I want to use. Just bear with me a moment. Oh, here, look, happy birthday. From the Artistically Inked set. If you haven't got this one, get it. It's a gold mine of inspiration. Okay. Oh, that's a very big one. That's not going to fit either. Voila. Let's just go with that. Hello. Now, will I gold emboss that? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Let me just quickly bring out the embossing stuff. The embossing buddy. And the block. There we go. And apply that. Like so. Okay. That's that. Into the powder. Perfect. And apologies for the noise you're going to hear now, but from the heat gun, here we go. I'm sorry, I've got my hand in the road there. There we go. All right. Now I'll just show you what I do when I'm applying the sentiment. I mean, you can apply it flat like that. That's just not my style. So when that's cooled sufficiently, okay, I just do this. And I've got that effect. All about height and texture. All right. Oops, there's my pot there. So and then the reason I do this, the reason I do what I'm about to do, let me just quickly apply some glue here. You don't need to glue the whole thing, just a small amount, because that is now, well, it was going to sit at the top, but now it's going to sit at the bottom like this. Okay, can you see that? All right. Okay. Now, there it goes, like that. Just going to bend this one a bit more. There we go. because we need 2 points to apply the dimensionals. So I put the dimensionals on in this case because when I sell or give away most of my cards, sometimes the sentiment that I've got here on the card is not appropriate for the person who's buying it or who I decide to give it to. So with the dimensionals, I can easily, with snips, cut that off and reapply a new dimensional, or one that's appropriate to the customer or the recipient. And there it is. It's as simple as that. Now, you could apply some ribbon on that if you want, but I like the Spartanness of these cards. And see what we've got here. We've got some lift in the background. Just reapply and make sure, oops, your adhesive. What I did was, when I heat set that last sentiment, it came over here onto the card, but that's fine. We'll just go back in there and reset that. So here we go. There's our cacti in the finished product. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you've learned something. And importantly, I hope to see you next time on Michael's Card Art. Thank you for your time.